As above, so below. As within, so without. So, what is this law about here? This law is called the law of correspondence. Okay? So, this is what this law represents right here. As above, so below, right? As within, so without. I'm sure you heard this at some point. As above, so below. It's what it's basically saying is that everything has the same amount of depth to it. So, believe it or not, anything that's below, there's also above. And everything that's within is also without. So, that just gets back to the main focus here, which is that everything is connected. Remember, law 1, everything is connected. And what this law exactly goes through is just gonna be over the fact that you need to be aware of how your internal world affects the exterior world, the external. So you need to be aware of how the internal world affects the external. Yeah. So how you become more aware of that is gonna be up to you and whether you want to act towards it or not. Now, I'm gonna go over a couple of examples and a couple of ways that you can reflect on how it's being put into effect in your life, okay? So, like always and like before, I'll write down a list of what things do I think is what you need in order to influence what I'm talking about here. I mean, I'm not talking about just nothing here. Like, I'm talking about these laws. Like, I really want you guys to understand that these laws are really fundamental to the world. Like, these are laws that were written back in the day. They were recovered through old scriptures and stuff. I can go into the history of it at some point, but that's for another video. But we're gonna go over the law of correspondence here. This is law number 4 out of all of them. We're going through all of them. So we started here. This quote right here is what you want to remember so it could represent this. As above, so below. As within, so without. So I wrote right here a phrase that backs up what the law of correspondence really entails and what it wants one to focus on as a person. So, who looks outside? Dreams. Who looks inside? Awakes. So this is basically telling you that you want to look internally for solutions from time to time. So the majority of people are usually inclined to look at the exterior, on the external. They're inclined to looking for answers over there, over here, over there, over there, over there. But what this law is proposing is that when you come across an issue, a problem, try looking in here first. And then it'll reflect onto the external. When you change something here, it will reflect onto the world, on the outside. And that's just the reality of it, because everything starts here. As we've discussed before, everything starts here. So if you fix something here, it will reflect, or you will have an effect on the world around you, or your situation, or your position, or whatever it is. If you have an issue, a problem that you want to figure out, something that you've been stuck on, maybe you're the problem, and you need to do some self-reflection, which goes back to my other key here. So I wrote the 3 things that you can actually apply to your life today in order to kind of have this law play into your life, okay? So, number 1, inner reflection. Now, we just talked about this. Your inner reflection is just sitting with yourself and thinking about your internal dialogue. What does your internal dialogue look like? Because that's an interesting question for anybody, really. For anybody, that's a really interesting question. Ask anybody, what do they think about on a daily basis? About 90% of the people are gonna either not tell the truth, or they won't be aware enough to truthfully let you know what exactly is that they're thinking about. But they're thinking about something constantly throughout their day. And a lot of people that are around you, maybe family members, friends, close relatives, anybody that's in your environment. If some of them are in a position that you've seen that they've been in for a while, or that they seem to be like stuck, ask them that question. Try figuring out what is it that they be thinking about on the daily basis, and see what adds up, or what patterns do you see. Like, oh, he was thinking about that day. Wait, he brought that up that day too. Wait, and this day, oh, he brought it back up again today. You know what I'm getting at? Sometimes thoughts are the ones consuming you, and they're the ones consuming most of your mind, most of your energy. And nobody tells you to watch that. Nobody would tell you to watch that. Oh, watch what you're thinking about, right? Like, who's gonna say that? Not even a teacher would say that. So that's why I think it's important to understand these concepts, right? Because it doesn't sound crazy to me, but it will sound crazy to some people. Your thoughts are incredibly important, and people won't pay attention to them, or they'll acknowledge this and they'll just be like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense, and then they'll just go and not do it, not do shit about it, right? So like I was saying last time, they'll take the knowledge and they won't apply it. They won't do nothing to put it into play in their life, anything like that. So I'm not saying it'll be easy, right? But it's good to have this awareness of this law as well, because if you really cared about how these things affected you and how these things played a part in your life, what you would be doing is writing this down and making sure that you go over it from time to time. So you're aware of what these things are. You're aware of what they do. And you're aware of the effects of these laws what you do that affects it negatively and what you do that affects it positively. Both. Because you could see it, we see it as negative and positive, right? Like good and bad. Oh, this is a good thought, that's a bad thought. That's how we see it, right? But that's not how the universe sees it. The universe doesn't give a fuck. It's gonna give you equal reactions to anything that you do. So if you have negative thoughts, like we discussed, if you have negative thoughts, it's gonna give you more reasons to have negative thoughts. If you have positive thoughts, you're gonna see more reasons and you're gonna see more opportunities open onto why you should have more positive thoughts. So it's all up to you at the end of the day. And that's the first thing right there. You wanna learn how to maintain a healthy inner reflection, making sure you're keeping yourself in check, you know? Like I said, it might not be easy, but keep yourself in check. Affirmative practices. This can be anything from visualization techniques, affirmations, telling yourself stuff on a daily basis. It's very real, guys. It's very real. The affirmations, bullshit. What? Because it sounds funny. It does sound funny. Oh, visualizations. Oh, affirmations. Oh, I'm gonna be wealthy. Oh, I'm abundant. It sounds funny. I can't lie, but it's very real because I won't go into my personal experiences here, but if you tell yourself, we're gonna go into the logic side of it, okay? If you tell yourself every day a statement that you want to become, or you want to be true, and it's within your reach, doesn't really have to be within your reach either. I mean, if you just say something that you state something to yourself every single day, repetitively, not repetitively, but I'm saying like twice a day, once a day, for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month. That thought is gonna be in your head more usual because you're consciously remembering to bring that thought back up to your head. So what that's gonna do is gonna affect your subconscious mind. So we have our conscious mind and we have our subconscious mind, right? I hope we know the difference between those two. The conscious mind, brief summary, is going to be what makes you aware, right? Just like I'm thinking of something right now and I am speaking it, right? That is my conscious mind speaking right now. That's my conscious mind. My subconscious now is something like instincts, programs that have been programmed onto me with time, experiences, and lessons, really. So subconscious is just something that we learned and we have kind of embodied, right? That's the best way I could explain it, actually. The subconscious is a little hard to explain. But what I was trying to get at here is that your subconscious is going to be affected if you tell yourself that statement, affirmation every day, right? Your conscious mind is telling that to yourself, right? Like, could be anything. And then your subconscious will eventually get to a point where it'll automatically start looking for maybe an opportunity that can lead you towards whatever that statement is. Or it might give you an idea that could lead you to where that statement that you made is. It might give you an idea to call somebody to ask them a specific question that might lead you to that idea that you have. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you understand? So the affirmation sort of opens the doors in your mind to go where you want to go, basically. That's what the affirmations do. And I've actually never heard somebody explain this the way I just explained it, but it's very real because I have a good understanding on it, and it is very real. Give me 1 sec. All right. Well, I didn't have that. That's good. What I was saying was that it's very real. Affirmations can be very useful to you, but they can also be hurtful, right? Because just like you could go in the positive side, you can also go on the negative side. It's equal. It's up to you which side are you going. It's all equal. The world does not give a fuck about you. I promise. It's funny because people will think there's a really twisted idea of what a good person is. And believe it or not, about 90% of the time, what you think a good person is, they aren't very good. Let me just put it like this. Sometimes the most religious people, like Catholics, Christians, you know, sometimes those people are the shittiest people. I'm just being honest. Because I have came across a lot of them. And some of them are just the shittiest people I've met. Or it's not really that they're shitty people, but they're close-minded and they just stick to one belief. They're not they'll look at something like this and they'll consider it something of the devil or some shit. I don't know. Some satanic cult bullshit or something, you know? You know what I mean? So they're very, very close-minded, religious people. So the idea of a good person in this world is really fucking twisted. I really don't know what a good person even is, because I don't think there's a really solid definition on that. But what I'm trying to get at here is that good and bad doesn't matter which side you pick, you're gonna get equal and opposite, equal of anything. So if you do bad, God doesn't give a fuck. He's gonna give you what you deserve. If you do good, he's gonna give you what you deserve. Easy. So that's the affirmations thing right there. I don't know how I just rambled onto that. I don't know how I just ended up in that topic, but back to what we were saying. Affirmative practices. That's what we were talking about, right? The affirmations, right? The visualizations as well. I mean, we talked about visualizations in the previous video. What did we say about them exactly though? We brought up an example of this study, right? And I actually searched up the study at some point after that video. I searched it up. It was, you could look it up on Google. It was a scientific experiment that goes by the name of the placebo effect. So there was a study of a man that was diagnosed with cancer or something, a cancer tumor. And his name was Mr. Right, or he went by Mr. Right. You can look it up. But long story short, he basically went through a procedure that they called the Cresobian. They gave him like some medication. They gave it a weird name that seemed real. And they told him, this medication here is going to heal you. So just take it and it's going to heal you. He took the bait. He said, oh wow, really? Okay. He started taking it, and he believed that he was getting healed by this medication because the doctors were really convincing about what it was, right? They gave it a valid name. They gave it a valid description, I'm sure. They gave him information on it, but it was an experiment. It was an experiment to basically test out the power of belief. So would it have an effect on him if it's really nothing but just a sugar pill and we tell him it's something else? Would it have a different effect on him? That was their whole goal right there. That they wanted, what is the word for that? That was their question, their hypothesis? Yeah, something like that. But they were trying to figure that out. And come to find out, you won't guess what happened. The guy started recovering. He started recovering, and he literally got cleared out of the hospital because they considered him to have beat cancer, the cancerous tumor or something. So he got cleared and he recovered, right? Now let's take it 2 months after the situation, right? The guy started reading an article on the specific drug that the doctors told him that they had given him. He started reading a specific article on it. And the article said that it was fake, that it was nothing. It was nothing but a lie, right? That's what the article said. It was an article on how these sugar pills and how the study went, that this, we gave it to these many patients and we called it this, and the patients took it, they recovered, they went home, they're good now, whatever. So he came across that article, he read it. And what happened a couple of days later? Motherfucker died. He died. It's crazy. It's crazy. But that just comes to show you what the power of belief does, what the power of your mind holds, the power that your mind holds. Because if you have your mind filled up with a bunch of negative shit, that's what you're gonna get. That's what you're gonna get. And vice versa. So, enough there. That was your affirmative practices there that you could implement if you want to. Or don't. Either or. So right here, look at this. Third one. Environment. Environment. Now that's a big one. That's a big one. Because a lot of people can't really control their environment, I'm gonna say. Because either you got stuff that you do on a daily basis, right? that you have to come across these people. You have to do stuff with these people. And they might be draining. They might be, you know, gossip motherfuckers that just like to talk shit all day. That just don't got nothing going. Or just small talk bullshit that just does not matter. It's not gonna help you. They're not showing you nothing. They're not teaching you nothing. You're not getting nothing out of this one-on-one conversation. But just talk shit, basically. And I'm not interested, personally. If you don't have something to say that won't get me thinking about something, at least, I really don't want to talk to you unless you're my family or relatives or anything, right? But I'm really not interested because everybody's gonna be in a constant environment curation stage at every point in their life, because to curate your environment is not, I mean, I'm saying it's not easy. It can be easy. Then again, it goes to how you're seeing it. It can be easy if you want it to be easy. I mean, you could easily just fucking stop replying to everybody that you usually hang out with. Just stop fucking answering calls, change your number, move. You could easily do something like that, right? But you probably won't do that. So that's what I'm saying. It's probably not gonna be easy. So curating your environment is gonna maybe have to start with most of you, or at least how it started with me. It's gonna have to start in the sense of fixing your relationships with people that you want to have relationships with, and the people that you don't think are adding anything. You just let them do their thing, you know? I mean, you don't have to flat out go out and tell everybody like, hey, yo, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I just don't want to talk to you no more. I can't be friends with you. You don't have to do that. But just like, you know, slowly. Like, stay over there. I'll stay over here. Easy. Doesn't really have to be verbal or nothing. Again, it's all in here. What you decide to project onto the world, it's up to you. Now, if you feel it's right for you to go and tell the person, then by all means, go ahead. Go tell them. But you don't have to, right? Just make that commitment to yourself that you're gonna curate your environment, that you're gonna focus, you got better things to focus on. Whatever it is. Maybe everybody has something they want to do. Like, follow that. I wrote something on the description of my, one of the descriptions. So, one thing everybody should think about is what can you do effortlessly? What can you do without you really having to try too much? Or like, what are you happy with? What are you happy with doing? What's something that's work that you're happy with doing? It doesn't really bother you. You can do it effortlessly. But you can also make money with it. Find something that you can make money with, or and that you don't really care for doing. You don't really mind doing it. Find something like that, and I promise you, you'll be more happy than you can ever be. Even working your day-to-day job, even doing everything that you usually do. If you find something that keeps you happy and you can do with no effort, like, I mean, of course you gotta put effort, but you don't mind doing it. It keeps you happy, but it's also still work. It has to be something that you find maybe fun to do, but other people will consider it as, man, that's fucking hard work. And who knows, you might be at the level where It might be hard work for you, but you still want to do it. Fucking do it. Just do it. You got to start somewhere, right? So whether you start down here or whether you start up here, figure out what is it that you want to do, and you're gonna know right away what you have to start with. It might have to be you might have to start with reading a book. You might have to start with taking a class. I don't know what it is. I don't know what you're gonna choose, but you're gonna know where you would have to start at, and it's just gonna be up to you if you're gonna be consistent with it, and you're gonna keep going from here to here to here to here to here to here to here all the way to the top. It's up to you. Nobody's gonna bring those books to your fucking table. Nobody's gonna sit your ass down and tell you, hey, read this, read that, then read this, then say that, then do this. Fuck that. Nobody wants to do that, because you don't even want to do that. So what you have to do is stop being a little PG. Just do it. Please. Please. That's your environment that we just went over there. Now, another thing that we wanted to go over here was these three things are how you apply this knowledge, right? I explained how you could apply it. And if you need any more examples, you can comment on the comment section. You can ask me questions, man. Like, ask me something. Comment down below and just ask me something. I would love to answer your questions. So please do that. Okay. Wait, hold up. So one thing that I actually wanted to go over was what's another thing about, it's more about your inner reflection, because it's more about your inner dialogue. I think we talked about it. We talked about our inner dialogue here. So, what is our inner dialogue? It's our thoughts. Your thoughts. I keep stressing about this. I keep bringing this up, right? Because I brought this up a couple of times. But your inner dialogue is really fucking important, bro. Like, until you understand this, you're not gonna be able to change anything. Because it starts by understanding that this right here is what shapes your actions, your plans, and your next thoughts. It's a cycle. It's a fucking cycle. Your thoughts will influence your actions. They will influence your emotions. They will influence your, what else? What else? Fuck. Your feelings. Kind of same shit as emotions, but. And most importantly, your next fucking thoughts. Bro, your initial thoughts are going to influence your actions. They're going to influence your emotions. They're going to influence your feelings. And they also influence your next fucking thoughts. So, if you're in a fucking cycle of bad thoughts in your head, it's just going to keep on going and going and going and going and going. It's just going to keep on going. It's not going to stop until you fucking do something about it. That's when it's going to stop. So, do something about it. Do something about it. It's hilarious. I really like showing these things because I've never really considered myself a really spiritual person, right? And I don't even think this is spiritual or spiritualism too much, it will fall under that category by some people. And I also put it under that category. But I don't take it as that too much, because this is more common sense. This is more basic, essential knowledge that we've just got further and further away from with time. So this is why we're here. We're here to show you guys this. We're here to show you guys what we think is good to know. And I hope you guys enjoy it. This one. I hope you guys enjoyed this lecture right here, because I think this is a really important one. And how I said, the main things that you guys have to watch here are these three. I hope you guys took some notes. The ones that care about these things, they at least took note of these three things right here. Just keep track of it. Keep track of these things. And should be all right. Just like that. Till next time.